All right. Hello, everybody. How we all doing today? Uh, all right, guys. So it's me. It's me once again. It's me, Chimpanzee, and we are reacting and discussing the latest chapter of One Piece today, chapter 1044, Warrior of Liberation. For the first time in so long, I can hear the drums of liberation, and he has finally appeared. The chosen one, the resin boy, the resin rain has returned. But yeah, so we're talking One Piece chapter 1044 today. Hey Sour, how you doing? I had to make sure I was here. Oh hell yeah, dude! Thank you for coming through. I'm excited. I've heard a lot of, I've actually somehow avoided all spoilers, even though I basically just stayed out of like every, One Piece related Discord or forum, or just like I basically just haven't been on like my Twitter timeline at all. Just like every time I see something like someone who I know has read the chapter, I'm just like, I fucking get out of there as soon as I can. That being said, the only things I have seen are like people's sentiments on the chapter, and some of it is like very negative. Some people are like, oh, it's not that bad, so, but it definitely seems like one of the more contentious chapters based on like the type of like really like out there opinions I've been seeing. And that is what I expected, right? That is what we expected after the end of last week's chapter. So yeah, just to recap, on the last chapter, 1043, 2 weeks ago, Oda the motherfucker made us wait 2 weeks for this shit. Made us stew with this horrible revelation that he's been giving to us. No, I mean, last week we ended on a major cliffhanger. JOYBOY, a character who has been built up since basically the beginning of the time skip, was finally revealed. Right, he was finally revealed. JOYBOY has returned. The drums of liberation are banging and binging, and and essentially, excuse me. I don't have COVID, guys. Actually, I haven't like eaten much today, and in an effort to like scarf down some food in the middle of the workday, I like basically like swallowed a muffin whole, and basically it just went down the wrong pipe, and I've been fucking coughing up muffin bits since then. So if I'm coughing, it's not because I have the Rona. It's just because I'm an idiot and I ate too fast. Anyway, so on the last episode, on the last chapter, right, there was a huge cliffhanger, right? JOYBOY is revealed, and it turns out it is in some way, shape, or form Luffy. Now, again, the chapter just ends with Luffy being, he was knocked out by Kaido. He's unconscious on the ground. The light has faded from his eyes, even though the light would not fade from his eyes before. This is like final KO. Looks like he's dead. Word of God text from Oda. Straw Hat Luffy has been defeated by Kaido. Kaido is raining havoc. He's trying to like finish everyone off here and now. He can win the battle on his own. He's that strong. And then all of a sudden, Zunisha says, I can hear the drums of liberation. And JOYBOY fucking returns. So like my initial reaction to that, if you were here last week, if you saw, or if you watched the VOD that got uploaded to YouTube later, or on Twitch after it was streamed, you'll know that my initial thoughts were like, oh God, like, please don't make Luffy like the one who is always chosen to be the fucking savior of the world. Obviously, JOYBOY has a ton of narrative importance, so I don't love the chosen one trope. It can be done well, but typically when it's subverted in some way. Like with Avatar The Last Airbender, what's fun about that one is that's like an established, like the Avatar in Avatar The Last Airbender, like minor, I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as possible for anyone who hasn't seen that series. But in that series, the chosen one, the Avatar, is essentially like, it's a reincarnation cycle, which, reincarnation is also a trope I don't love, or like a recurring motif in media that I don't love. But like, it's done well in that series because it's like an established thing right from the start. And the main character is running away from his destiny because he's like, fuck destiny, I just want to be a kid. I don't want to fucking deal with all the responsibility of being the Avatar. I never wanted to be the Avatar. And that's like a great like inversion. Like it's basically about how this character has to grow into his responsibility as the Avatar while also, being, not like relinquishing his values both as a kid and as like the last Airbender, right? So that's like an interesting inversion on that type of trope and on that type of dynamic, or on that type of like story beat with like the elements of a chosen one narrative, right? So there are ways to make Chosen One narratives not inherently contrived and not inherently bad. I think Dark Souls, anyone who's been watching me on Twitch knows that I fucking love Dark Souls. It's like my favorite game ever. That also has a really interesting inversion on the Chosen One narrative, where the idea of the Chosen One is essentially propaganda to get people to sacrifice their lives to continue the Age of Fire. Minor spoilers for Dark Souls, which isn't really that much of, like, the story's cool in that game, but it's not like the central focus of that game. It's just like, that's a recurring motif. So, like, there are ways to do Chosen One narratives in interesting ways, but with One Piece, it never really was brought up in this way before. And just because, Luffy clearly is in some way Joy Boy, we don't really know what that means yet. So I'm not, although my initial reaction was to convulse and be very afraid for the direction Oda is taking this series, I'm still cautiously optimistic that he won't. We talked at the end of our last stream of 1043 about ways that this could potentially be done well. I'm hoping that Luffy isn't like a full reincarnation of Joy Boy, and that, basically Luffy is such a good character who has such like a strong personality, and really he really cares about his personal values, and that's kind of what makes him so cool. And the last thing I want to see is the fact that Luffy has Joy Boy in him, whatever that means, take away from any of Luffy's accomplishments or any of his personality or any of his personality traits. So the last thing I want to see is for Luffy has always been this way because he's always been Joy Boy. If it goes that direction, it's, in my opinion, that's just bad. That is just bad. That makes it oh, okay, so he was always destined to be this type of guy. And that to me, that is kind of a bummer. That would be sad. That would make me cry. Yeah, but what I'm hoping to see, and we talked about some ways this could potentially work at the end of my last stream regarding these subjects, is that maybe Joy Boy has somehow possessed Luffy temporarily, but Luffy will still I want Oda to make, and I'm hoping he does this. Obviously, we'll see what he does. It all comes down to the execution, whatever it ends up being. But I'm hoping that Oda draws a distinction between Joy Boy's personality and his character and Luffy's, and whether that be that Joy Boy's a spirit inhabiting and that awakened when the devil fruit awakens, maybe we can get a nine-tailed fox Naruto type of dynamic. I could see that. I liked what Oda did with Cavendish. I could see that being interesting and funny in One Piece potentially, if let's say Joy Boy pulls a Hollow Ichigo, tries to take over for a little bit, beats up on Kaido for a minute, but before he beats Kaido, Luffy's oh, fuck off, get out of here. Pulls the Hollow Ichigo thing where he tears the, hollow mask off of his face and says get the fuck out of here. And then they have a contentious relationship where they have to learn to reconcile their differences. That could be kind of an interesting arc for Luffy. I could see Oda making a lot of funny jokes with Luffy being I don't give a fuck about your fucking, goal to take down the world government, Joy Boy. I could care less about that type of shit. I could see them having a clash of personalities being a funny thing to do. I really just want Oda to make it so that Luffy doesn't lose who he is because he has Joy Boy in him. I don't want Luffy's personality traits and who Luffy is as a character to be based on Joy Boy. Obviously, Oda's gonna do what Oda's gonna do, man. We're just fucking sitting ducks. We're riding down the pond that is about to hit a fucking waterfall, and we're all gonna die on the rocky coast below. But we just got to see what's happening. So okay, so we got a few comments. Guys, I will say, if any of them have spoilers for this chapter, if I notice anything, I'm just gonna skip over it because, like I said, I've been able to avoid spoilers so far. That's I appreciate the comments. I appreciate any engagement. Obviously, I'm not a huge streamer, so I really do appreciate that. But yeah, just obviously, I'm really looking forward to when we're done with the chapter. We can discuss. I'm also just looking forward to getting into it as well. So let me read some comments before we get started here. Sour says, so many stupid takes. I'm curious what yours are as a less stupid person. Thanks, bud. I don't know how less stupid I am, though. I feel we'll see. We'll see how stupid I am. This will be the barometer for how fucking dumb I am, I guess. And then Yo-Yo Man 565, hello. I thought that the fruit was Joy Boy. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, I haven't read the chapter yet. I don't know if that's a spoiler. I hope it's not. But that would be my that was one way that I thought if Joy Boy, because we've seen with the Black Blades, people who have who leave black blades behind, like great swordsmen, they like infuse their haki, their will, their spirit into the swords. And I was like, well, maybe that's been an established thing that's kind of become more explored in Wano, specifically with like Enma and Shusui, and the way that they carry the wills of their former masters, essentially, in them. I was thinking, like, well, what if that's the case with, Luffy's devil fruit? Maybe, like, when it was awakened, like, something similar happened when Joy Boy passed away. His spirit kind of merged with the fruit, and we have a situation. I think someone in one of the One Piece Discords I'm in called it, like, the idea of the devil in the fruit. There is actually a devil in that fruit. The devil being the D, Monkey D, or whatever, and then Joy Boy being the devil in the fruit. So I actually don't hate that idea. We'll see what happens, because like I like in Naruto, I like the Naruto Nine-Tailed Fox dynamic, and in Bleach it's less good, but like the Hollow Ichigo dynamic, I think it creates good conflict. Like I like that kind of like internal conflict. And I think with One Piece, Luffy's such a different character and Oda's such a different type of writer. He doesn't usually fall into that like super shonen-y tropey stuff. So I feel like he could take that and like make it not only really funny, but also like, take it in different directions than like Kishimoto or Kubo did. And I could potentially see that not being bad. I'm just like coping real hard. I'm just like trying to find ways that this turn of events could potentially be something that I won't hate, right? So we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, so Sour Lemon said he hasn't read it yet. Oh god. So maybe that was a spoiler, yo-yo, but we'll just have to see what happens. Gonna hit Reverse Mountain, but not be prepared for it. Yeah, so we'll just see what happens, guys. Okay, so caught up on comments. Let's fucking get into this shit, huh? All right, so starting with the chapter, here we go. I'm just going to move my intro, and we're getting into it. I'm reading on the cupboard, because I think that's, as far as I'm aware, that's the only scanlation that's come out yet of this chapter. I didn't see a Kubari one yet, so sorry if anyone hates the cupboard. I know they're unpopular for certain people for certain reasons that are valid reasons from what I understand. So, all right, let's get into this shit. Okay, so it's called Chapter 1044, Warrior of Liberation. We're continuing with the fucking cover arc of the Big Mom Pirates. Hell yeah, my dude. Best pirate crew in the entire series. And look at this cute little girl with the bunny and the knife. I think we've seen this girl before. She appeared a while back, right? Big Mom was basically telling this girl, like, you can kill whoever you want. Everyone has a couple hundred people they want to kill, which was such a baseline from Big Mom. God, Big Mom is so cool. And, oh man, look at this cute tentacle girl. She could do like a reverse tentacle hentai on the Vince Smokes here, which I think is what Oda's leading up to, if I had to place an educated guess. And then we have our pumpkin-headed guy. I love that guy. He fought Pedro. Probably would have killed Pedro, or Pedro would have blown himself up again if that was happening. And then we have this dude with the tall hat and the funny bulbous body, and obviously oven, and they have all these fucking tools that they're going to use to rip these guys apart. That's pretty funny. I like that. Okay, so let's read this. Grandma 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage, Volume 8. Mama's out at sea. Let's start our research. Ooh, they're gonna fucking dissect these guys, yo. That's awesome. I fucking love that. Get at them. Get up in those guts. I want to see it. Oh, by the way, guys, for this stream in particular, I bought a bottle of rum. No, actually, I've had this for a while. It's like a pirate bottle of rum, and I have it on deck because this chapter might make me as depressed and suicidal as our main man Kaido, and I want to have my booze on hand for when and if that happens, just to help me get through this shit. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, so starting the chapter proper. Okay, ba-bump, a resounding pulse. What's happening? How can I still stand? Wait, how can I still stand is interesting. So does that mean that Luffy is kind of back in control? Like Luffy is conscious? It's not Joy Boy that's taking over. It's Luffy's consciousness is still in place. Actually, that might be an okay turn of events. If Luffy is not like, if Luffy does like wakes up and he's not like, I am Joy Boy, I've been Joy Boy the whole time, that would be okay. Like if Luffy's just getting the powers of Joy Boy, I would be okay with that. So we'll see what happens. I just lost. He says, I just lost, but I feel like I'm having a blast. And then Kaido gets like all fucking spooked. You know, he's shook, man. Doom da da da, doom da da da. We got some drums going in the background. This is pretty epic. I like the framing of this first page. It's kind of like, it is like an epic sort of like introduction where it's like, you hear like the ba-boom, ba-boom, and then like the drums start beating and like everyone's kind of like, you know, hearing something's happening and like on the roof and there's hockey fucking lightning shots off the roof. Like this would be really cool if this had been built up further up back, I guess. Like this feels like this whole JOYBOY stuff, like, and obviously we're going to see what happens. I'm not that far in yet. If this had been built up further back, like, I would really like this intro, because I think this is a really cinematic and dynamic intro to the chapter. Like, I like the drums, I like the heart beating, I like Kaido being shook, I like Zunisha being, like, you know, all fucking eyes glossed over, which is what he always looks like, but, you know, whatever. Okay, so we get, what's his name, Momonosuke, looking up at the dome rooftop, and he says, "Luffy is JOYBOY?" Question mark. You and me both, bro, you and me both. And then Yamato says, "Zunisha said that?" And then, okay, so we go down to the pleasure hall. We're going to see everyone reacting. This is going to be a chapter of just reaction shots. We're not going to find out any hard information this chapter. Classic Oda, making us wait for that type of shit. All right, so we got a couple comments here. It really started from Zoe, which in the context of One Piece wasn't that long ago. I mean, we got the first mention of JOYBOY we got was on Fishman Island, but like as far as like building up to Luffy, or Luffy being like special or having a special fruit in some way, that's something that really only kind of started since the raid, I think. Maybe since the flashback with I mean, I don't know. I guess you could argue that like the prophecy stuff in Fishman Island maybe set it up a little bit, but I don't know. I think that's kind of a stretch, to be honest, guys. I don't know. You can read into it. Yo-Yo Man says it's like big introduction in a theater production. Yeah, like framing wise, like cinematography, like it's not. I know it's not like a fucking movie, but like from like a framing, like artistic perspective, I actually think that first page was pretty cool. Okay, so Pleasure Hall, Right Brain Tower, Gah, and then Kia, Sir Pirate, you're awake. Sanji, you know, leaps out of bed. He's awake now. Pant, Luffy, he says. And then everyone is like getting woke to the fact that Luffy's JOYBOY. It's basically like they're reacting the way the rest of the One Piece community reacted to this news, and that they're like, what the fuck? Like everyone's like kind of now theorizing as to what's happening. Live floor. What the, says Kid. Law, you know, exclamation point. Hyogoro. Is that Sir Straw Hat? And then we get Marco, Straw Hat. And then, hey, you too, he's still breathing. So everyone who has, like, observation hockey is, like, sensing this guy. They're like, okay, he's awake. He's back up. And it's interesting that they're sensing that Luffy's still alive. They're not sensing that, like, it's someone else entirely. So that's actually good. Okay, so far, having only read 2 pages into the chapter, I like that Oda seems to be, like, showing us that, like, this isn't a different personality. This isn't, like, you know, JOYBOY, like, taking over Luffy's body because JOYBOY's always been there. This seems like Luffy just accessing a new power that he just was able to awaken. And, I mean, honestly, like, because I was so worried that, like, we were literally about to be, like, possessed by the spirit of JOYBOY and, like, how that would, like, play out in the fucking story to come. Honestly, like, him just getting a new power after fighting for a while, that seems like such a lesser evil to me that, like, I don't even mind it that much. But maybe we'll get to the end of it. You know, I'll keep reading. If I have criticisms of it, I'll bring it up. But, like, right now I'm, like, kind of like, whew, like, thank God that Luffy seems to, like, still be in control. Like, thank God. Because if it had just been, like, him waking up and he's like, I remember everything from 800 years ago, I would have been like, fuck no, get me the fuck out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would have hated that. Okay. Got a couple comments. Sean Coonery says, zoom in on the 3rd page, focus on the left side. Oh, fuck. I don't know how to zoom. I'm just gonna go really slow, okay? Actually, yeah, wait, hold on, I can zoom. Okay. Zoom. Oh, God. Zoom. Oh, no. It's not doing it on the left side. I'm bad at this. I'm really bad at browsers. Okay. Is that Sir Straw? Okay. Luffy's still alive? Cry. You've got to be okay, right, big bro? I'm just going to cover it with my hand. My hand is out. See, it's out. I'm going to cover the left side with my hand. I'm just going to look at the right side. Okay. The Holy Land Marigios. Marigios. Okay. The Hall of Power, Pangea Castle. We sacrificed one of our best agents and enraged Kaido. Did we ever find out what the name of that one agent was? I don't feel like we did, right? Like, we never even got, like, properly introduced to that character. He's just the masked guy who has been around since, like, Dressrosa or something. Kind of an he went out like a boss, but he was overall a pretty underwhelming character, if you ask me. Okay. One of our best agents and enraged Kaido. Are we sure our priorities are straight? This may be better than the alternative. It's imperative that we snuff out something this problematic. Yeah, Luffy has been pretty problematic recently. Remember that time he punched Vivi in the face? And also that time, didn't he do something else? Didn't he sexually harass somebody else? Like that, oh, well, whatever, who cares? So, no matter the era of the world government, I'm actually going to shrink this down a little bit because I'm bad at fucking using browsers. I'm just an idiot when it comes to that type of shit. Okay, this may be better than the alternative. It's imperative. Okay, no matter the era, the world government has always failed to acquire the Gomu Gomu fruit. Wait, didn't they just fucking talk about earlier in this arc that they had the Gomu Gomu fruit? So what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, who said they had it on a fucking transport ship? Did they just find it and then bounce? Like, or I guess like Shanks stole it, right? We know that Shanks fucking abducted it. And that's why who got fired. But like, still, that's pretty weird, right? Okay, I'm going to keep reading because I'll read comments in a bit. I want to keep reading though. No matter the era, the world government has always failed to acquire the Gomu Gomu fruit, even after 800 years of trying. God damn it. So, I mean, this is essentially confirming the Gomu Gomu fruit has always been super important, and the reason the world government has had their eye on Luffy is because he's had it the whole time. I mean, that's probably not entirely true, but, you know, he's also been doing shit, but that does undercut Luffy's like personal accomplishments a little bit in ways that I don't necessarily appreciate. But Luffy's done so much stuff. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. I'll move on. I'll complain about it more later if it becomes more of a thing. All right. It's almost as if the fruit itself is evading us. Well, that's not impossible. Well, that's not impossible. Shouldn't he say, well, that's impossible? Okay, whatever. Also, when fruits have a will of their own, and this one carries the name of a god. What the fuck does that... Okay, we're going to find out the true name of the fruit. After all, the Gomu Gomu fruit is really a mythical Zoan. What the fuck? Oh, come on. Oh, fucking Oda. What the hell, dude? A mythical Zoan? Come on, man. It's the human fruit. Model Nika. Dude, that's racist. You can't be saying that type of shit in your fucking Japanese manga. You don't have the right, Oda. You don't have the right. Okay. It's just a guy jumping over a moon and laughing. That's pretty funny. And a fucking drum beating behind of it. Okay. I don't know how I feel about this yet. I'm gonna keep reading, obviously. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I mean, guys, we just know it was rubber, though. We just know it was rubber because Enel smacked him with the fucking rubber. You know, like, why would he have been immune to Enel's attack if it was... I mean, is this a mythical creature that's made of rubber? I've never heard of such a thing, but I guess it's possible. Maybe Oda's done his research and I just haven't. I don't know. So far, this is straining my credulity a little bit. I wanna give this the benefit of the doubt for anyone who's here and is like, oh, give it a chance, dude. Like, I want to, but like already this is like straining my credulity quite a bit. And like I knew, like we just knew that we knew the Gomu Gomu fruit. We've already been primed for this, you know, plot twist, aka retcon. It's okay. Not all retcons are inherently bad. That's fine. We'll see what happens here. And I guess they never said it couldn't have had a different name, right? Whatever. It's not the end of the world yet. You know, I'm rolling my eyes a little bit, but I'm still in it. I'm still with you guys. Don't, you know, it hasn't lost me yet. Okay, I'm still with it. All right. Its user's body gains the properties of rubber. Okay, I need to look up what Nika is because I've apparently people have done like in the past 2 weeks because obviously we had 2 weeks to stew on this JOYBOY reveal, right? I've seen a lot of people post like what's it called, theory videos and shit. I haven't engaged with that stuff at all. I don't give a fuck. Like theory videos, in my opinion, especially One Piece theory videos, usually kind of suck. Not to say like I don't want to like poo-poo anyone's hard work, but like, you know, if someone worked really hard on a video, like, you know, good for you for working hard on that. But like, I feel like your efforts would be better spent elsewhere, in my opinion. Not that there isn't something, like, I like casually throwing out ideas about, like, what something could be, what something might be, but then, like, kind of, like, spending, like, hours, like, kind of, like, just peering through the manga and writing a dissertation on a theory that may or may not be true, and will get proven right or wrong in the next, like, week or so. It feels a little bit like, come on, man, you could be, there's so much more literary analysis that you could be doing that would be so much more fruitful, in my opinion. Fruitful, get it? Okay, so, but hey, that's just my opinion. I didn't engage with that stuff at all, so maybe someone predicted this. Maybe someone looked up what Nika was in the dictionary or on Wikipedia, and it is like a rubber creature of some kind, a creature made of rubber. Who knows? Okay, I could just be wrong about that. I could just be talking out of my ass, so who knows? Someone else who knows more than me, comment on that. Okay, so in combat, they're supposedly only limited by their imagination putting smiles on faces. What the oh, God. So wait, is this explaining that Luffy making people smile is because he has this fruit? Because that sucks. Like, if that's true, that's horrible. I hate that. Far and wide, they are the embodiment of the warrior of liberation. Oh, so Luffy's whole personality. God, okay, please make it not that. Please make, Oda, please clarify and make it not that. Like, I'm reading, oh God. Okay, Sun God Nika. Awakening exponentially strengthens their rubbery body, and they have even more freedom. So, oh God, okay. I assume that means he can like mold his body more than before. Like, his body is going to turn into Play-Doh, like, or like a, you know, like a gummy type of thing, like a fucking, you know, he's gonna be like Flubber. He's gonna be Flubber, right? It's Flubber the fruit. God damn it. He's Robin Williams, the like the fucking in One Piece now. You know, spreading laughter wherever he goes. The most free man on God's free earth. Awakening exponentially strengthens their rubbery body, and they have even more freedom. It is allegedly, okay, guys, before we move on, it is allegedly the most ridiculous power in the world. God, what the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, let me read some comments, because I'm getting mad now. Okay, hold on. So, okay. Thank you, Sean Coonery, for the tip. I'm really bad at zooming in Chrome, apparently. So, sorry. I didn't see anything on the left side. I saw, like, maybe the only thing I saw on the left side of the page was this, like, you know, round orb with the silhouette in it, the moon with the silhouette. That's the only thing I saw. I didn't read any of the words, so, you know, I didn't you know, catch on to anything before I was supposed to. I had already seen the silhouette, so it's fine. Back in the chapter where Who's Who talked about it. Okay, so Sour says, in retrospect, him having the memories of Joy Boy would have been a stretch anyways. Yeah, thank God. Thank God that that's not what happened. Obviously, I don't know if that's the case or not yet, but that seems to be the case. Sour Lemon, like, as a theory. Remember that time Luffy said the N-word despicable? Yeah, I do remember that. Remember that time Luffy wore literal blackface to fight Foxy? What a cultural appropriator that motherfucker is. Okay. Like, as a theory, I don't think it undercuts anything. I do. I mean, if it cashes in on what they're saying, which is that this idea that its user's body in combat, they're supposedly only limited by their imagination putting smiles on faces. So does this mean, what does putting smiles on faces mean? Like, well, how does a fruit that lets you be a rubbery boy also put smiles on faces? Is it because you're a rubbery boy? But we know that that's not the only reason Luffy puts smiles on faces, right? So if they make a distinction there, great. But that is like a weird thing. They're tying Luffy's personality to the fruit. I don't like that. That was the last thing I wanted to see. Was I don't want Luffy's personality, and we know that it's somewhat, you know, like, okay, so this is a fucking story where people's personality does interact somewhat with their powers. Like, that's just people, you know, like Oda just writes it that way, where someone, you know, if they're funny, they usually have a funny fruit. If they're serious, they usually have a more serious, intimidating fruit. Like, you know, it's a story that comes up. I just don't like when it's like in Word of God text saying, like, you know, the fact that he's a rubbery, funny boy is what puts smiles on faces and allows him to be a warrior of freedom. And it's like, those are just like personality traits of Luffy that they're ascribing to the Gumu Gumu, this power that he just incidentally came into contact with and gained. I don't like that. I don't like that. I hope that Oda clarifies later in the chapter, but right now, just flat out, don't like it. I was hoping it would be something different. He still had to get stronger personally. That's fine. That's fine that he still had to get stronger personally. I'm glad it doesn't undercut his work ethic, but it does undercut other aspects of his personality, and I don't like that. Yo-Yo Mon says it's a thing Oda made up. Yep. Sean Connery, that's Luffy. That's actually Luffy. Before you get mad, the implication is that the fruit seeks one with the proper... Okay, that's even worse. The fruit seeking out somebody with the proper personality shows that it was less Luffy's fucking... like, obviously Luffy ate the Gomu Gomu as a joke. He just, like, went up to it and he's like, oh, what's this? It's a fucking pineapple. And they just fucking swallowed it. But, like, I like that it was just a funny accident. Like, it was cool because it was a funny accident. The fruit seeking out somebody with the right, like, personality is weird and, like, does undercut Luffy's agency. And that's what I feel all of this is doing, is it's undercutting Luffy's agency, and I don't like that. Hopefully Oda will clarify that that's not what happened. I'm just basing it on this page alone. I don't like what I'm seeing here. That's just how I feel right now. Okay, moving on. Treasure repository, second floor. Hiyori, says our funny friend over here. I really admired Odin. Think about what you're doing. This guy is such a fucking scumbag, Orochi, man. It was all Kaido. He was using me. We can still run away together. Just remove these nails and... Oh no, you're barking up the wrong tree, dude. She's got your number. You spat in the face of a samurai you owed. Who would still believe you? Yeah, fuck off. My father kept his promise, did he not? Yeah, he danced. He danced like a fool for, like, what, 5 years? So yeah, he definitely kept his promise, that's for sure. Okay. He danced like a fool for 5 long years because he thought you and Kaido would honor the secret arrangement you made and free Wano. He never even told his own family. That's pretty cool. Odin was a pretty cool guy. My father was a man who kept his word. He still expected the same of you when you agreed to let them go. This is awesome. I'm glad that someone's finally, like... Because Orochi's such a spoiled brat, and he has been ever since he became Shogun. Which is weird, because, like, Orochi has, like, the personality of a Tenryubito, even though he grew up in poverty. So he's, like, just as spoiled as a Tenryubito. He has, like, the same type of, like, you know, entitled personality that they have. And, like, entitled sentiments that they have. That he doesn't need to answer to his people, that he just kind of lords it over them, and, like, doesn't give a fuck that they're suffering, and, like, just kind of, like, it's all about, like, the whole economy of Wano is about, like, you know, making him fat and happy, basically. And making his allies, who keep him fat and happy and keep him in power, making sure that they're satisfied as well. But, like, it all comes down to just, like, him feeding his own appetite. Him, you know, he grew up with nothing, so he wanted everything. Orochi's a great character. I like him. But, yeah, it's nice to see him get taken to task by someone. So this is cool. He still expected the same of you when you agreed to let them go. If he withstood being boiled for an entire hour, even while his body was being burned by the oil. Despite it all, he always smiled always. He was JOYBOY too. He also had the JOYBOY fruit. And that's why he made everybody laugh and smile. Because it was his destiny to do so. Because the JOYBOY fruit sought him out. Or the Nika fruit. God, I need to be careful when I say that. Despite it all, he always smiled always. I can't even fathom my father's suffering. He had to shoulder the burden by himself because the entire nation was your hostage. What's the matter, Hiyori? And now Hiyori's... This is what I predicted a while ago, is that Hiyori wears that mask when she plays the shamisen, is because she cries and grimaces and sobs and weeps and, you know, pisses and shits herself when she plays that song that she learned to make her father happy. She learned it so that, like, she could have something to show her father. She learned the song that, you know, Orochi happened to like as well. So she always wears that mask when she plays that song. That's something that's kind of been a recurring motif with this character. So now she's crying, and we see that I was right. I was right that she does wear the mask because she can't help but become emotional, overcome with emotion when she plays the shamisen the way she did for her father. So good stuff. Father, are you really okay with what everyone says about you? And, you know, she's sad because she obviously loves her dad and reveres her dad. But, you know, people at this point in time were talking mad shit about that guy for, you know, fair reasons, I would say. Of course I am. You know why? Because I have you guys. And that's the great thing about Odin, is he never gave a fuck what anyone else thought about him. What a badass. What a cool guy. Appreciate him for that. Really, then, I swear I'll always be here for you. Aww, look how cute she is. Okay. Oh yes, I've always said Odin was a great samurai. As Shogun, I can ensure his legacy is recognized. Your father... She takes off the mask at long last. And yeah, she reveals her fucking weeping, gnashing face, how angry she fucking is, how the righteous indignation. I love to see it. I love to see how fucking pissed she is. She's gonna kill him. Hold your tongue, you miserable wretch. I am Kazuki Hiyori. Nice. He screams in fear. I was always proud to carry my father's name, even when I was starving and covered in rags. You, on the other hand, never had a trace of honor. Every day you were shogun. Every day you were shogun was one too many. Sorry, reading comprehension there. My bad. And as each day passed, more and more lives were lost. Wait! Stop! He says, don't do something you're going to regret. Seeking revenge is a dated ideology, you know. Besides, killing me makes no difference. Kaido will still be unbeatable. And she's like, I don't give a fuck what happens to Kaido. I'm killing you, motherfucker. And then, oh, we got little Kanjuro. Look at little Kanjuro, his little fucking chode. His little fiery chode sticking out of the ground. Orochi-sama, huh? I have failed. He's just a little ghost boy. He looks like one of those humanity ghosts from Dark Souls 1. What a cool guy. Is that you, Kanjuro? This is as far as I go. Your timing is impeccable. This is the ideal stage for your real final performance. So, Orochi still trying to, eke out a win by whatever means he can. This man just is living in a delusion. Like, this dude is deluded. He, like, literally, there's no way he can lose. That he's trying to manipulate everybody, lying to everyone. Burn that woman to ash. Go on, take her. Goofa fa fa fa. The failed revenge of a shrew 20 years in the making. It's the perfect title for this tragic comedy. Take a look, Hiyori. A Kazuki survivor should know that fortune favors the mighty. Orochi-sama, that's the wrong way. And then he burns Orochi. Whoa, I didn't see that coming. Hell yeah, dude. So Kanjuro is the one who takes out Orochi in the end. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I actually, Kanjuro's little arc has been so all over the place, Like, I liked his turn. I liked him being a secret. Like, I obviously loved Kanjuro's, funny, gags up until he turned into the villain. But then it kind of felt like he kept, jobbing as a villain. The fire thing became an actual threat, which was cool. But then Big Mom basically alleviated that threat by falling through the floor. So Kanjuro kind of has been just kind of like a fart in the wind this whole arc. Like, he appears, I'm get really hyped for something that he's going to do because I'm invested in him and the Scabbards, and I'm invested in their conflict and their relationship. I just like the Scabbards as a group. I like them as a unit. And his betrayal has been such a key elements to their story. So I've been really interested to see how it would come back around. I will say, I was kind of worried that, after he got kind of dissipated by Big Mom, grabbing that bomb several chapters back in 1040, I think, maybe 1041, I forget which one, that, we just wouldn't see him anymore. And, I was kind of this arc has been going on for a while, that's fine. But I am kind of glad that he came back, and he's, kind of doing something. He deserves this kill, because Orochi's been fucking with him. Orochi put this man through hell. Orochi made him, basically become, fucking brothers. Brothers in arms with the people he was trying to kill. And now, at the very end of both of their lives, Orochi is still manipulating him. So, I'm glad that, if this is the final blow dealt to Orochi, I'm glad it was by Kanjuro. He deserves to get that kill, I believe. Okay, I'm going to read a couple comments here. Let's see. This doesn't undercut his agency and the story as a whole. Sarah, we'll just have to see. I mean, I more or less agree that, Luffy's actions are still his own. But the thing is, this draws that into question. I'm going to get to the end of the chapter. Maybe Oda will address that type of stuff more by the end of the chapter. But, right now, it doesn't look good, man. This puts all of that stuff into question. It really does. And that's not good. That's the opposite of what I wanted. That is the opposite of what I wanted, is for for anything about Luffy's personality to be related or impacted by the fact that he, has this fruit, like that's a bummer. That's a bummer. I mean, I hope that that's not the case. I think there's still been enough evidence of Luffy's personality, like kind of coming into its own through like the flashback that we got with him with Shanks and then also with Ace and Sabo. So this doesn't necessarily undercut everything about Luffy. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm claiming. But it does draw that stuff into question, like how much of Luffy's personality, how much of his desires for, to be the most free person on the seas and like to, and as like a funny boy, like as someone who, makes people laugh, like how much of that is based on the fruit? Like now we just have to ask those questions because Oda has presented that as a question. Like he just has. So it's unfortunate, but like I don't hate it yet. Like I am a little like, that's weird, bro. Why would you do that? But like, why would you make like personality traits tied to a fucking thing? I do get that they're like I said before, fruits, like Oda just does, for story purposes, pair fruits with people's personalities. He just does that. But usually it's when he introduces them first. He's like, oh yeah, this, like Law's fruit. He's a badass, so he has like a surgeon fruit and he can do all this cool shit, but he's also kind of like a troll motherfucker and stuff. And like, same with like Kid's fruit. Like a lot of the supernovas are great examples of that. Or like Kaku, for instance. Like Kaku's such a funny boy. He gets like obviously a funny fruit. And like that just kind of, Oda just sort of does stuff like that. He makes personalities, he matches fruits and personalities in like I want to say a diegetic way. Like he just, that's just what he likes to do. And that's fine, but it's just like having it spelled out as like, these personality traits are a property of this fruit is, in my opinion, just bad. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm hoping that he clarifies more and that it's not as bad as I currently think it is, but I don't particularly like that. Okay. Perhaps his powers, but not his journey. Okay, whatever. Yeah, we talked about it. Okay, Yo-Yo Man says, Orochi, I feel, became an asshole because he was told that it wasn't his fault. Yeah, dude did not take personal responsibility, and this is... Yeah, I mean, he blamed everyone else for his problems. That is really what it comes down to. Oda being based and red-pilled once again. Yeah, I mean, that is part of it. That's definitely part of it. It's also because he wanted revenge for how shittily people treated him growing up. But there is an element of personal responsibility. And in contrast to that, Odin did take personal responsibility for, like, the fact that he, like, let these guys... take over his nation. He was like, well, you know what? I'm going to carry this, my samurai on my back so that they can like, accomplish like the dreams of the people. Like he essentially like he carried the nation on his back to, he was the true ruler, the true shogun he was the shogun they deserved, but not the ones that they needed at that, or not the ones that they had at that point in time, I guess. Hyorik's expression in that panel is on par with the I want to live panel. Yeah, it's great. Hiyori's expression here is really good. She looks pissed and also sad. And like it's a really good expression. I really like that face that she's making. Hiyori's cool. She hasn't gotten a lot to do, but I like her. I like her. I like her a lot. She's just cool. I like her. Orochi died 2 times and still thinks he has a chance. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, he's got 7 lives, man, with all those heads or whatever. Or maybe 9 lives, who knows? I think people are crazy for thinking it calls anything into question. Sour, I don't know what to tell you, man. It feels at worst an unnecessary twist. Yeah, it's that, but it also calls things into question. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's on, like, until, I mean, I guess I would like to see another translation, but just the fact that personality traits are, like, attributed to the fruit. Like, I don't get how you don't see that is potentially... Like, whether you think it's a problem or not comes down to your personal tastes. But, like, it is, like that does undercut, that does make it so that part of Luffy's personality might be based on the fact that he ate a devil fruit. Because guess what? We didn't know him before he had the fruit. We knew him for maybe, 4 or 5 panels before he ever ate the Gumu Gumu. And it was when he stabbed himself in the face because he wanted to be tough. As far as we know, everything else about his personality has at least maybe not been completely impacted by the fact that he has this fruit, but it could be to some extent impacted by the fact that he has this fruit. We just don't know. Like, I think, like, obviously I don't think Oda wants us to think that. I do think Oda wants us to continue to think that, like, Luffy is his own person. Luffy the way he is because of his experiences. And I do still think that, because we've seen Luffy's journey. We've seen, especially since he got on the Grand Line, we've seen him grow into the person that he is today. So I'm not saying that like his entire personality and the person he's grown into is always been, you know, impacted by this, you know, power that he has, but we don't know now. It has been called into question, and that, in my opinion, that's a problem. In my opinion, that's a problem. I don't like that. You know, I don't like that it has been, that it's now like we have to question that. We have to question Luffy's autonomy, Luffy's, you know, who Luffy is as a person. I just don't like that. Okay, so continuing on, let's see. The dawn will come. Sorry. I mean, this is a really nice panel. Like, you can see, like, the light from the Orochi burning. Orochi's burning alive, just like Odin burned alive. Fuck you, Orochi. You were a great character. I actually very much appreciate Orochi as a character. He's such a piece of shit, but he's a Spandam-style piece of shit. And I like him a lot. He has a lot of good, he had a lot of good stuff, especially in Act 2. He was a really interesting and fun character to follow. And seeing, like, kind of his weird journey from rags to riches back down to, you know, being turned to ash is by his own man, after all. His own cousin, I think is pretty good. Kondro, you idiot. Hiyori, save me. It burns. And then she just says in, like, kind of a hushed tone, the Kazuki clan always keeps its promises. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so we're back on the roof. Doom, da-da-da, doom, da-da-da. We got the drums going. Ba-boom, boom, boom, you know, we got some sweet shit Gear 5th. God, oh, fuck off. Dude, what the hell? Every power-up in the world is happening this arc, I swear to God. Nothing is saved for the end. Is he going to pull out Gear 6 against Blackbeard now? What the fuck? Okay. Sorry. You know, everything with, like, Hiyori and Orochi this chapter, I've, like, been like, dude, this is awesome. So good. So good. With Hiyori, Orochi, and Kondro, I'm all on board with that shit. Oh, God, everything with the Luffy stuff, I'm, like, not feeling at all. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after the chapter. I feel like anything's possible now, Luffy says. Yeah, it's because you literally have the strongest fruit in the series. You are a Gary Stu now, Luffy. The most ridiculous power in the world is what the Gorosei called it. Fuck off, Oda. Fuck you for pulling some shit like this. Okay, we're moving on. So Luffy is dancing around. He's dancing in front of the moon. He's doing the fucking moonwalk. He's doing a funny. It looks like he has multiple hands. I don't know. He's turned into like a weird gum boy with like weird like wiggly noodle arms. I mean, I kind of like the way it looks, but it's funny. Oh, God, I don't know how to feel about this yet. I feel like anything's possible now. I can keep fighting a bit longer. My heartbeat sounds funny. This is my peak. This is Gear 5th. Oh, God. So now he's doing Gear 5th. Okay. We hear a big old crack. Kaido is flying around below. He says, wah, or someone says, wah, and then there's like, what? And then a bunch of people are, passing out. Hey, you guys, says Kaido. What the hell is that? It's on the roof. Kaido looks up. Are we gonna fucking see Gear 5th this chapter? Oh my God. That's actually pretty hype. Even if, like, I'm kind of, like, didn't want Luffy to get, like, all the power-ups this arc. Like, save some for the fucking end of the series, man. Like, but, like, I still am kind of, like, if they do show it, I'm kind of hyped for it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So we see the crack. We see, hey, what's happening? Conqueror's Haki? Where's it coming from? And then, ooh, big crunch, big squish. He squishes that boy with his fucking giant hands. So he grabs Kaido. Holy shit, okay. And Kaido's like, what? And then we see Monkey D. we see these guys are like, huh? Straw Hat. And then, Chopper crying, shouting for Luffy, cheering Luffy on. We see our Jello boy. We see our Flubber Man. Flubber Man. Yeah, Flubber Man. It literally is Flubber. It has the properties of both rubber and gum going on right now, so that's pretty funny. Okay, so he grabs him with his flubber hand. Kaido's eyes pop out of his head. That's pretty funny. Okay. Yoink. Yoink sound effect. Good stuff. Okay. Kaido-san. And then Luffy pulls him up. Kaido's about to get fucked up, dude. And then Luffy does a big fucking macho muscle man thing. He's about to go Randy Savage on this guy. And then she. I kind of like this little, like, the fiery hair design going on for Luffy right now. He looks cool. I mean, he looks funny, which is like, I appreciate him looking funny. But now we know that his funniness all comes from his devil fruit, so what's the point? Nah, I'm being a little hyperbolic, guys. Obviously, like, Sour, I know, Sour, you're pushing back on this idea. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but, like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Alright. She. Take this. Arg. Starts throwing them around. I love that Kaido's eyes are like, this is the most Looney Tunes One Piece has been in a long time, and I do kind of like that. He starts throwing them around like a Popeye. Luffy should have just eaten some fucking spinach, man. That would have been enough. I would have bought him beating Kaido after having some spinach. That would have been fine. Spinach is like an established power in this universe, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so Luffy starts fucking slamming him around. He's going to beat Kaido immediately because he has the strongest power in the world. Kaido is no longer a threat. He crashes him down, and then Luffy's pain. Kaido has a big bonk on his head. Look at that. Straw Hat, so you're still alive. So he has a smirk now. He's smirking. And he says, I'm grateful. Blast the brefu! And then Luffy dodges it. Or no, he's just rolling on the ground laughing. And then he looks at it. His eyes pop. A lot of eyes popping out of heads this chapter. That's an interesting artistic decision by Oda this time around. He says, whoa! And his eye, he looks like that one cartoon character that used to be on WB. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? The Freakazoid. He looks like the Freakazoid in this picture with his eyes popping out. That's what he looks like. That's pretty funny. He grabs the ground because he can turn other things into malleable rubber, right? So he grabs the ground, he turns the ground up. Oh god, look at this dude. And now he's just laughing. Oh, come on. So he grabs the ground. I mean, I kind of like the design. Like, I like the way Luffy looks, kind of. Like, he looks kind of cool. So he grabs the ground, he's all in flame. I like how cartoony this looks. I will say that. Like, so far I actually like the artistic direction of this power-up. Like, so far, you know, he does a big arm. Like, this I like that his big arm back here when he grabs Kaido looks just like normal Gear 3. He just does a big arm, pulls him up, it looks like normal Gear 3, and he swings him around, bangs him on the ground a bunch, laughs, literally squeezes the ground, pulls it up like it's like a fucking, you know, like rubber strip, you know, like a rubber cable cover on the floor or something. And he does a big muscle man. He can make his body more malleable now, I guess. He brings it all the way around, puts the thing around Kaido, I suppose, is what we're supposed to take from that. And then he starts laughing. Sorry about that idiot from before. I didn't want to win like that, is what Kaido says. So that's good. Kaido is apologizing, similar to what he did with Odin after the Hag kind of got in the way of their fight. And then the battle reaches its finale. Next issue, cover and color spread. Sorry about that idiot from before. I didn't want to win like that. Don't sweat it. Now let's finish this. So Luffy has funny eyebrows. He's looking like a gelatinous Gumby type of guy. There's some color art at the end here. I mean, I like some of the art this chapter. I will say I like the art this chapter. The art this chapter is pretty fun. Very cartoony, really getting back to like One Piece's what's it called? It's kind of more like Looney Tunes roots, which I actually like. So yeah, man. God, there's so much to say about this. Let me start by reading some of your comments because yeah, there's a lot to say. Okay, so where did I leave off? Okay. It's not really attributing personality to the fruit. It's just that the fruit has ridiculous powers. But dude, like, we gotta go back to this page with the Gorosei, because like they just say its user body gains the properties of rubber. In combat, they're supposedly only limited by their imagination, putting smiles on faces far and wide. Okay, like what? So putting smiles on faces far and wide. Like, Sour, you seem to be pushing back against this idea that it impacts his personality at all. What do you make of that? Or like, for instance, they are the embodiment of the warrior of liberation. So is it that he's the embodiment of the warrior of liberation because he is, I guess, like, say, like, just because he has so much freedom in the way that he can use his powers? Is that what's happening here? Is that what is implied based on what you're thinking? Because, yeah, when I read that, I was thinking, oh, so this is like, you know, putting smiles on people's faces. Is it because he can just, like, turn things into fucking Jell-O mold and he's a fucking, you know, Gumby flubber man that he's put smiles on people's faces? Like, if it's just that the power puts smiles on people's faces because it's funny, that's fine. But Luffy's clearly, like, he has changed. Like, we see in this last part, like, he's laughing a lot more than he was earlier in the fight. So that's a little odd. That shows, like, a slight personality shift. Not a major personality shift. Like, he does smile and laugh when he fights from time to time. But this is definitely more than usual. He's definitely smiling and laughing more, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but it definitely seems like this is impacting his personality in some way. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, hold on. Okay. It's not really attributing personality. Okay. Sour says, your analysis is in conflict with your opinion. Literally how? Explain it. You see his journey and growth. There's no reason to question the fruit's impact. Dude, he cared about being free before we met him. He just, like, he literally, like, we learn about, like, why he started caring about that with Sabo, you know, because, like, Sabo had his freedom taken from him, and that's why he started caring about freedom. But, like, we just, you know, like, he is someone who's always cared about, like, had similar sensibilities and been a very free-spirited person. As long as we've known him, which is basically as long as he's had the fruit. We knew him for maybe, like, what, like, 2 or 3 pages before he got the Gomu Gomu, maybe 5, I don't know. Like, it was in Romance Dawn, he got it immediately. So, like, just, you know, there is reason to call that into question. You know, there just is. I don't know what to tell you. One plot hole this definitely causes is that supposedly the fruit tells its eater its name, so Luffy should have technically known its true name. Wait, when has it ever been a thing that the fruit tells the user the name? I don't remember that. Is that actually a thing? If it is, I forgot about it. I thought people just, like, had to figure it out or look it up or something. Luffy is now the mask. Yeah, kinda. I think he looks a lot like Freakazoid in this panel right here, where his eyes are popping out of his head and he's making that big face, you know? Get Jim Carrey to play him in the live-action series, yeah. Jim Carrey Luffy is my wet dream. Freedom and power use, and its creative puts smiles on people's faces. So that's one interpretation. We obviously, I want to read the official translation for this chapter. I want to read Kubari's translation for this chapter. This might be a bad translation, but, like, that's an interpretation. Like, I don't, you know, I'm hoping that that's more what Oda meant. And I think the other translations are going to shine some light on that. But we'll just have to see, man. Like, I can't say for sure, you know, what was the intention by, you know, kind of the description that was provided by the Gorosei. It does seem to make him have a good time, though. It sure does. And that doesn't bother me all that much. Like, it's a little weird, but I think I'm okay with that. It does seem, like, one thing I'm glad about with this is that it's not that JOYBOY is returned in the sense that JOYBOY has awakened. It's just like, no, JOYBOY is just, like, essentially the type of, it's just the fruit, I guess. Like, someone who has the fruit can be JOYBOY, I guess. Which is also weird, because, like, why would the fruit matter that much? Like, because Roger and Odin literally said, like, we're too early, we can't do anything until JOYBOY's here. Basically, they're like, we gotta wait till JOYBOY returns. So is it that the fruit is so powerful that... Also, is Gear 5th just normal Luffy with awakened devil fruit? Because this just looks like normal Luffy with, like, the weird puffy thing that allows him to do, like, Snake Man. And the weird fiery hair. Why? They already called it Awakening. Why do they have to call it Gear 5th? I don't understand that. I really don't get that. That's dumb. Oda, you fucked up. Excuse me. Okay. It was Any's... hold on. Okay, freedom and power and use. Its creativity puts... Okay, I already read that one. It's because of what he can do and how the individual uses it. So, like, sure, but, like, now we have to ask, like, why was... Like, if the power, the Nika Nika fruit, if that is JOYBOY, why was the power that JOYBOY had so important to, like, the prophecy of the world that we've been built up to with, like, essentially, like, the The fact that like Wano's borders need to come down. They need to wait for JOYBOY to reappear. They need to, JOYBOY needs to appear. Like Roger was 20 years early. Like stuff like that. Like, why was JOYBOY like if this isn't like some sort of like weird like personality, like if it doesn't impact his personality at all, like why did they have to wait 20 years for that to happen? Like it seems like there's like two sides of the coin where like the power that JOYBOY possesses is needed, but also like somehow like the personality of JOYBOY, whatever that means, is also needed, right? So like what if Luffy had just been born like a fucking piece of shit? Like what if Luffy was like a Tenryubito and just used this power for evil? Like, and 20 years later, it's just like, oh, like, JOYBOY, like appeared and he just destroyed the world and like, or like, like fucked everyone up, like killed all the good guys and like made the world government supreme or something. What if Eam had the fucking Nika fruit? You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as I'm concerned, like this does, like that's part of the reason why it calls it into question is because like, how would they have known that it was going to go to the right person? If the fruit is JOYBOY, if the fruit is the Nika, like if JOYBOY appearing is the Nika awakening, like, you know what I'm saying? Like there is, like it is weird. There is like a prophecy element going on here. How did they know it was going to end up in the right hands? I guess maybe Shanks kind of, influenced the prophecy, but Shanks didn't even mean for Luffy to eat it. So like that, it is weird. Like there's like weird narrative stuff, weird like kind of adding importance to things that obviously weren't initially meant to be quite so important. You know what I mean? That's definitely something that's happening here. I don't think Oda ever meant for the fucking Gomu Gomu to become this, which isn't necessarily bad. Like adding additional importance to something later isn't necessarily like horrible writing. It happens all the time and sometimes to good effect. But in this case, it feels disjointed. It feels weird. It feels unearned. Especially the fact that it's literally the most powerful fruit in the world. The most powerful thing in the world is this fruit. Like the Gorosei basically said it themselves. Like that's kind of annoying. I don't particularly like that. Because now it just makes like, what can stand in Luffy's way? I guess someone with 2 devil fruits, right? Blackbeard can stand in his way. That's the answer. It was Ennie's Lobby CP9 said, Ennie's Lobby CP9 said the fruit name thing, I think. Okay, I would need to see a reference for that. I don't necessarily it's not that I don't believe you, I haven't seen a panel that, I would need to see a panel. The idea was when they were eating the fruit, they can't know what it is until they eat it. I mean, that's true, but does it tell them its name? I don't think that's, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually something that like happens. Maybe they just know it like intuitively. I don't know. You do have a point about why would the fruit be necessary to be JOYBOY. I just don't have a problem with how it impacts his character. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, like, listen, I don't actually think, like, whether Oda, like, I don't think Oda meant, but, like, the thing the Gorosei said, the thing that I kind of have a problem with, right? I don't think Oda meant for that to undercut Luffy's character arc or his character traits up to this point. But I can't, I also can't, like, if someone thinks that it does, I can see why. Because Oda brought, you might be right in that it is just, and that's why I want to see a different translation, with, like, the fact that maybe it is just, like, the fact that it's such a funny, wily fruit is what makes people laugh and brings smiles to people's faces. And the fact that, it's about freedom of expression is what kind of, like, is where this idea of, like, liberation comes from. But it feels like there's more to it than that. We just, like, I do want to hear more from Oda about what's going on there. Because, like, the fact that they're bringing in these elements of Luffy's character and, essentially kind of writing that into, like, what the properties of the fruit, in a sense, or, like, things that the fruit the ways the fruit impacts other people, and, like, ways that the fruit has been used in the past. And that is weird, that is, like, I don't particularly like that. And, like, I'm hoping that it is more what you're saying, Sour, and I hope that it is more, like, that, it's just because the fruit is funny and allows for so much freedom in how you use it, that, it puts smiles on people's faces, and that's why it's, like, a thing about liberation. But, like, the fact that the idea of, like, this, liberation is tied into the fruit, when Luffy, as a character, cares so much about freedom, is a little weird to me. It feels like a little bit like they're trying to explain, and I don't think Oda necessarily means to do it this way, but this is something that comes up in, like, shown in manga a lot, where like writers will be like, oh, they were like kind of always destined to be this way. And like, that's a really reductive way of explaining it and looking at it, but like I do think like that's like I don't like when that happens very much either, and like it does kind of feel like they're leaning into that a bit here, and I don't love it. Just gonna say it, I don't love it. I don't think it's very good. I'd rather them not do that. If it were just that like, oh, it's like honestly, if it were just that like the awakening of this fruit is like, I mean, I still don't, I also don't like the fact that the Gorosei is like, that's the most powerful fruit in the world. That sucks too. I hate that. Like, I hate that Luffy, because what made Luffy cool was that he took a fruit that could be kind of shitty and made it good. Like, that's what was cool about the fruit. Like, I'm okay with it having an OP awakening, but them literally saying, it's the most powerful fruit that's ever existed. I'm like, oh, fuck off. Like, when I saw that, I was literally like, oh god, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't, like, give me a fucking break. Like, Luffy was cool because he earned, like, what made Luffy's arc in, like, this arc so good is that he, like, literally couldn't do anything to Kaido, so he had to fucking work. He had to fucking train. He realized during the Paramount War, we talked about this last week, that, like, what Luffy's realization during the Paramount War was that I'm fucking weak. Like, compared to the big shots in this world, like, I don't have the strength to become the Pirate King. That was his realization. And that's when we started seeing Luffy training. Because Luffy grew up in the jungle. He didn't really, the way I see it, he didn't really see that as training. He was just like surviving. It was just like he got thrown into the deep end of the pool and he had to learn how to swim. And then luckily that made him strong enough and confident enough in himself that he could just basically fuck everyone up until he got to Crocodile, which is when he had to like actually get serious. And it wasn't until CP9 that he's like, okay, well now I'm not going to train, I'm just going to like find interesting and like new ways to use my powers so I can overcome obstacles. But it literally wasn't until he realized at the Paramount War, I'm literally not strong enough to win. I'm literally not strong enough to become the Pirate King. And that's when, like, you know, because Luffy was like a cocky asshole basically for the pre-time skip, and he only became aware that he wasn't like this. He couldn't beat it. He couldn't become the Pirate King the way he was now, that he realized he had to train. And that's what's made post-time skip so satisfying for me, at least, is that Luffy's actually like been a more active agent. He's like, okay, like I'm going up, you know, he spent the whole time skip training and getting stronger. He goes up against Katakuri, someone who's actually stronger than him, and he's like, okay, no, if I want to beat this guy, if I want to actually be able to like fight the Yonko eventually, I need to like learn this guy's power. We're similar, so I can probably pick it up if I watch him, if I study him, if I like try to see the future. Like, and then earlier this arc, when he realized he couldn't hurt Kaido, he's like, I need to find a way to do that, and he started actively training. Like, we've actually been seeing Luffy like put in the work, which is something he didn't do really in the past. So like he was just strong enough since chapter 1 to take on basically any obstacle until the time skip, until the Paramount War, until he got to, you know, basically got his crew scattered to the winds by Kuma, right? Like, so post-time skip has actually been, like, a Luffy training arc, which has been cool to watch, and it's been cool to watch, like, him grow, and him, like, take a more active role as, like, someone who's trying to protect his crew and protect his interests and achieve his dream through hard work, as opposed to just coasting by on, like, just him thinking that he's like having like false bravado, which is what he did in the pre-time skip. Basically, he just was like, I'm strong enough. If I'm clever enough, I can figure it out. And in post-time skip, he's like, no, I have to actively work on like and come up with techniques and become stronger and train my hockey and like actually like, you know, get good, right? And like seeing him just get handed this ultimate power up, I fucking hate that. I fucking hate it. What can I say? I hate that shit. I hate that shit in any story, and I hate it here. So anyway, comments. Okay, let's go back. Where are we? You do have a point about, yeah, okay. Which is to say, I don't think it really does. So yeah, like, regardless of how I feel about, like, whether Luffy's character is impacted by the fruit or not, I think it's kind of hard to argue that it's not, but at the same time, like, I want some more clarification from Oda on that. But either way, Oda handing Luffy the fucking keys to the kingdom with the most powerful fruit in the game, that he didn't train to get this. Like, he trained his hockey so that he could fucking fight Kaido, which is why I was okay with all the hockey stuff that happened in this arc, and why I was okay with him being able to trade blows with Kaido, because Kaido beat him a few times. He's had the chance to observe people use these hockey powers, so he's seen them in action. He's started to figure out like how to use them, and then he kept getting his ass beat, but he kept perfecting them. So I was actually fine with him like learning all the hockey stuff this arc, because like Oda set the groundwork for it, and he did a good job in, like, you know, for the most part. Like, it was a little fast, but he did a decent job for the most part in like allowing that stuff to come about naturally, and like showing Luffy wanted to get stronger, and showing Luffy realized that he needed to get stronger, which is like something that, like I said, wasn't like Oda didn't really show Luffy doing that pre-time skip. That's a thing that is basically post Marineford onward is when he realized, oh, I actually need to like work at this shit. So like I like that that's a way that Luffy grew, is him realizing like I'm not hot shit, I need to like get strong enough to be able to to actually like achieve my dreams and also protect my crew. So like, him just getting handed like this ultimate power up without having like seen any like yes, we know that Luffy's good at using his fruit. We know that. This arc has not like, it's built up to there being a mystery around Joy Boy, and there being mysteries from the Void Century that are going to be revealed this arc, but it has not led up to like as far as we know, he has not been training with this fruit. This isn't something he's had in his back pocket this whole time. This is essentially an ass pull. It's essentially an ass pull. It's only been slightly built up in minor pockets throughout the raid, which has only been like, the last like 60 chapters, which is a lot, but like, come on. Like, you gotta, like, I don't think that's, whether you think it's fine or not, like, him getting handed literally the keys to the kingdom. What did the Gorosei call it? Literally the strongest power in the world? Some shit like that. I fucking hate that. That's probably the most egregious thing in this chapter to me. And I don't like it. And I don't think I'm gonna like that. I can overlook it. I can continue to read the manga. I'm not gonna drop One Piece. I love One Piece. But, like, I do think the most ridiculous power in the world, yeah, fuck off. Unless by ridiculous they mean it's the most ridiculous because of all of his gummy attacks and his gummy capabilities. It looks the most ridiculous. If they mean it's just the most goofy, silly, wacky, wow, lol, XD, like rar, whatever the fuck, I guess I'm okay with that. But like, if they mean most ridiculous being most powerful, that is some bullshit, and I hate that. Okay. All right, so also Shanks Snitch is a current meme Reborn came up with because it explains what he was doing in the Reverie. Reborn didn't come up with that. A lot of people have theorized about that and joked about that in funny ways. That's where the whole, Shanks being racist things comes from, right? Him hating the Fishman because he's allied with the world government. Okay, Sour Lemon says, also, yes, this retcon, he probably didn't plan this from the start. I'm fine with, soft retconning, which is like essentially if something hadn't been explained before, explaining it later, or like, kind of adding continuity where there wasn't anything before. I'm fine with that. It's when you kind of like revise something that had been there the whole time, which is kind of what this is doing. It's sort of, up in the air. It's sort of debatable. I think it's basically a retcon, but, I could see someone making an argument for why maybe it's not. But, that's just how I feel anyway. Yo-Yo Man says, it literally could have been Awakening and still have been given Luffy this power up, and it could have been Joy Boy also had this fruit. Yes, and it still would be bullshit, but slightly less so. Yeah, honestly, that I would have been fine. If this is just the same fruit that Joy Boy had, that's fine. And I think that is what they're trying... Like, they've gone about it in a weird way, but I think that's essentially what we got, Yo-Yo Man, is that, like, this is just, like, the same power that Joy Boy had. I guess it somehow having the same power makes you Joy Boy, I guess. I don't know. I think that's what's implied. Because what I was really worried about is that Joy Boy was going to be like Joy Boy returning was going to be like Luffy's awakening, and then Joy Boy is now in control of Luffy's body. And or somehow like Luffy just he's like, oh, I somehow remember everything that Joy Boy knew all along. And like I was trying to come up with ways last time in which I thought that could maybe work by having it be like a inhabiting spirit similar to like the Nine-Tailed Fox, but I'm kind of glad Oda didn't go that direction. I prefer this more simple direction of it's just a power up for Luffy, because like that's what we expected, right? We expected either an awakening or gear 5th. And somehow we got both, and somehow Gear 5th is just his awakening. Luffy, what the fuck? You can't just, like, it's awakening. You can't just call it Gear 5th. I mean, it's stupid. That part is stupid. Whatever. Sour Lemon, I mean, he is the grandson of Garp and son of Dragon. So he kind of was, yes, he was always special in the sense that he was, like, he had, like, a special lineage. But he was literally, like, as a kid, like, the thing that made him... Like, he wasn't really trained by Garp. Garp just, like, threw him into the wilderness and was like, or, like, let him live with bandits and was like, all right, have fun trying to survive. And, like, occasionally would come by and beat his ass. Or, like, tie him to a balloon and, like, let him float away, or, like, throw him into, like, a lion's den and see if he survives. So, like, yeah, I mean, look, Luffy, like, he is a important character, but, like, being an important character and, like, having the strongest power known to man are two very different things. Like, it just is. Like, Luffy is not like a Rock Lee type character where he had to, like, you know, he had everything working against him and he still became strong. Luffy is like he is strong from, like, literally from the first chapter. He could literally beat anyone in the East Blue. And, like, basically anyone before Crocodile he could have beat, like, you know, easily. You know, most of the time he's handicapped in his fights, or he is trying to protect someone, and that's why he has trouble against guys like Don Krieg and Crocodile and shit like, or Crocodile. I mean, fucking Arlong, you know? But, like, he basically, like, he literally left hometown, stomped everyone without any training because he's just that strong. You know, he just is that strong. And it has been that, he's always been strong, but we know that he's that way because he was basically abused as a young boy, and basically had to survive in the wilderness on it with just his brother. Like, it was just him and his brother surviving in, like, a fucking hostile environment, and that's what made them strong as fuck. And the abuse from their parental figures as well. So Molotov Bartender says, agree. I don't know what you agree to, but thank you, sir. Or ma'am, whoever you are. Sour Lemon, but I can see it being annoying if he has everything going for him. Yeah. I think that's, yeah, you get it. Molotov Bartender says, it was just Joy Boy's fruit, and it was actually Hito no model Rubber Man, then it'd be fine. Yeah, I would be fine with that. That would be okay. And honestly, I don't even mind the powers that we're seeing him use in his awakening. Like, so far, all he's done is a big Gear 3 hand. He makes himself buff to lift things up. That's fine. We've seen Luffy do that type of stuff before. And, like, I like the way it looks when he grabs the ground and, like, kind of, like, squeezes it. Like, I actually like the art for that. I think that looks good. And I like that he's funny. I like how funny he is. Like, I like the powers on display. I just don't know why they have to make such a stink about it, you know? Like, it feels contrived, is how I feel. Yeah. So, okay, if it was Joy Boy's fruit, Rubber Man, then it'd be fine. The prophecy and importance of the fruit is the terrible stuff. That plus the, like, honestly, yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with the prophecy. I just don't know how it's going to fit in. Like, why was it a guy had to have this fruit to save the world, right? Like, to do all these things that Roger apparently couldn't do. Like, what reason is there for that? It better be a good reason, fucking, you know, Oda. Come on, man. Like I'm giving you time to explain that shit. But, like, now that you've introduced that Joy Boy literally means having the Gumu Gumu or the Nika no Mi, like, you gotta explain why this fucking fruit is important to doing this shit. You just do. And the fact that the fruit is the key also bums me out. Like, I just don't, like, fuck that. I hate that. What can I say? Molotov Bartender, triple hockey, Rio and Conquerors was a good organic power-up. Yeah, like, that was, like, no matter how you feel about hockey, at least they've, like, tried to, you know, like, explain the way it works, explain the systems behind it, and give Luffy a gradual increase of power in that regard. Like, obviously he had a lot of power coming out of the time skip, but he had trained for 2 whole years with Rayleigh. It made sense that he would be overpowered coming into the new world. But, like, now we see him, and, like, but then, like, in the past 2 arcs, in Whole Cake and in this arc, he actually had to train to improve his hockey, and we learned more about the power system of hockey, which is good. It made hockey better because we actually saw how it worked more. So it, like, made the power system of hockey, which is a contentious thing, and a lot of people don't like for a lot of reasons, because it's less interesting than Devil Fruits, it's less customizable than Devil Fruits, it's a power pool that anyone can access, so it is less interesting than, like, Devil Fruits or Rokushiki or even Fishman Karate, probably. But it, like, the fact that it's been explained now and we have a better idea of the way the power system works and the different facets of that power system, like, it's much better now than it was, like, when we were first introduced to hockey, right? So, like, that's good. And Luffy gradually becoming stronger by training is good. Like, you know, I identify with a character who works hard, and, like, Luffy being a talented guy who didn't need to train, who didn't really need to work hard because he grew up in such a hostile environment that he just walked into the Grand Line and was like, I can basically beat everyone already, until he ran up against some real obstacles. and realized like, oh no, I actually have to train if I want to be the best. Like, I think that was a good arc for the character. That was a really good organic shonen character arc where he's like, he just realized like, at first he's just like, I'm already the best, like just put anyone in front of me, I'll beat him up. And then like realized slowly like, okay, no, I actually have to, like find creative ways to use my powers, like gear second and gear third. And then by the time we got to right before the time skip, he's like, nah, like I actually have to like train. I actually have to like, take time away from like constant battle and even away from my crew to like get stronger and like be actively working on myself and working on getting better. Like that was great. And it was showing that Luffy was growing as a person and like realizing his own shortcomings, which is like a big thing. Like I think a big thing for Luffy, he did kind of like believe in himself a little bit too hard at the beginning, and he kind of had to like reevaluate himself. And it's not that he stopped believing in himself. He just kind of had to like be like, okay, no, if I want to be the best, if I want to be as like, if I want to talk the talk, I got to walk the walk, So like, yeah, this feels like a handout. I don't like it. But anyway, Sour Lemon, it's a fair point, him needing to work versus not, but also he seemingly needed to be strong to use it anyways. So like, I'm meh. Sure, but like at the same time, him being strong versus him like training and working towards something, there's a difference there, right? There's a difference there. I think. At least I think so. It helps Kaido's character, but okay, hold on. It helps Kaido's character, but it hurts the flow of the arc. I'm not sure what you're referring to with that. Sorry, comment was probably from a while ago. The phrasing doesn't seem to imply ridiculous strong. It only seems to imply problematic and silly. I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. Like, rereading that, I'm like, okay, it's the most ridiculous fruit as opposed to the most ridiculously powerful fruit. So I really hope you're correct with that, Sour. Like, that, like, I can't wait for the other translations of this chapter to come out so I can, like, read those and feel like, okay. I would hope that they, like, the fruit is just super ridiculous. But even the fact that the government's been trying to get their hands on it for so long, and the fact that like they've been so worried, they literally had their best CP0 guy. They said to themselves, our best agent just sacrificed themselves, and this guy still turned into a fucking, Jello man or a fucking a fucking Gumby weird flubber man. Like it shows that the government was so concerned about this fruit. When has the government ever shown this level of concern for any other fruit? Except for maybe like, I don't know, like Whitebeards? Maybe. Maybe Aces? Maybe. Not really though. Like, Ace's fruit was a big deal in Dressrosa, but like the government wasn't there to like confiscate it. They were there to like suppress a revolution or something. They were there to basically just be like, hey, we know that there are pirates coming here. We're just on Doflamingo's side. So we're going to like be here and hang out. Yeah, I don't know, man. That, like, this is the most the government, like, we've never seen the Gorosei be like, yo, keep an eye on that fruit, bro. Keep an eye on that fucking, the Gura or the fucking, Darkness. No. Like, this is the first time they've ever, expressed interest in that. And to be fair, we don't see the Gorosei very often, so maybe this is just the first time Oda wanted them to be considering that type of thing. But it is notable. Like, it does make me think, like, the fact that they were so worried about it awakening. And because the Gorosei have a vested interest in Kaido and Orochi being in charge on Wano because they're doing business with these guys. So like the fact that like the Gorosei were rooting for Kaido and Big Mom, I think. Or I think they were more rooting for them to kind of take each other out, like the Pirates, the Pirate Alliance and the Yonko. But they were like there's no way the Yonko are going to get defeated. They just knew that. And they were clearly more worried about Luffy awakening this power than they were about Kaido continuing to exist, because they were like literally get in the way of Kaido and Luffy's fight to make sure Luffy dies. Like, that's what they wanted. They were more worried about Luffy surviving than Kaido continuing his reign. So, like, I don't know. Like, what does that tell you? That tells you that clearly this is at least in the top 3. It's one of the strongest fruits we've ever seen. It's up there with the Yonko fruits, which are all super strong, except for whatever. We don't know what Shanks has, or if he has anything. So, I don't know. Okay, so, a couple comments here. The purchase phrasing doesn't seem to imply... Okay, so, this is a Zoan fruit where the awakening is that you get to access the transformation. Yeah, that's also another thing. Like, they didn't explain... Like, maybe... What is a... Does anyone know what a Nika is? Don't Don't say anything racist in the fucking chat, okay? Like, I'm just actually genuinely curious, like, what that means. Like, because, like, is it like a mythical thing that, like, is it like a fucking Garuda? I don't know. Obviously not. But, like, is it something that actually exists? Is it like a weird, like, gelatin creature? I don't know. Like a weird string bean man? Like, is it Slender Man? Is Slender Man the Nika? Okay. Someone's going to clip me saying that, and that's going to suck. Okay. So, yeah. So that's the thing. Is like he doesn't look like a human model. I get it, but like this is a little weird, I guess. Which is the whole point of the zone fruits. Okay. Sour Lemon says it could be that having the fruit isn't necessary to being Joy Boy, but that would make this chapter a bit misleading. It would. It would make this chapter a bit misleading. Molotov Bartender says, I mean, like 6 chapters ago, Sanji was handed a power-up for no reason for what? The 3rd time? I think Oda just thinks the justification for the power-ups matters more. Yeah, but the thing about Sanji's power-up, though, is like, it was built up with the fact that, like, okay, there was definitely more build-up to Sanji's power-up. Like, you just got to admit that. Like, even whether you like it or not is up to you. But, like, at least that was tied to, like, a character moment and, like, an actual, like, cool, like, character arc with Sanji, where, like, he had to grapple with his humanity and, like, whether or not he was going to be, like, losing his personality in order to gain this power, and, like, whether or not that would be more useful to his crew or not. Like, that's an interesting dynamic for Sanji, who's all about, like, following his own moral code and his own ethics, you know, like, his own, like, principles. So, like, that created, like, interesting drama. What's the drama here? Now Luffy laughs more, and he can beat up Kaido more. Cool. Guess what? Luffy was going toe-to-toe to Kaido with Kaido before getting this power-up. Why did we need the damn power-up? I don't know. I guess maybe Kaido's going to pull out his final form, and we're going to have a real fight? I guess. That must be what's implied, that Luffy couldn't have won without this power-up. That must be what Oda's trying to tell us, right? Because, like, you know, like, I don't know what else. Why else he would have introduced this when Luffy was literally going to toe-to-toe with Kaido before? You know, it just, I don't see a reason. I do not see a reason. I don't understand. Okay. So Sour Lemon says, it helps Kaido's character, but it hurts the flow of the arc. Him having this sudden power-up. It helps Kaido's character? I don't know how it helps Kaido's character. I guess it's fine. Like, I don't see how it helps Kaido's character, though. Oh, you mean the fact that he was knocked out? Like, he knocked Luffy out by accident. I guess that helps Kaido's character, him being... But the thing is, then he proceeded to just kill everyone on the island. So I don't know. I don't feel like that really helps Kaido's character very much at all. Like, if you're talking about him apologizing, we've already seen him apologize for that type of thing. I guess it reinforces that he doesn't like when he wins unfairly. But we just already know that. We already know that about him. So I don't really... It's unnecessary, in my opinion. Molotov Bartender says, think Oda just doesn't think the justifications for the power-ups matter anymore. Yeah, I mean, listen, I found the justification for Luffy's hockey power-ups this arc to be fine. They were well built up to. Zoro's power-ups, I also found to be generally, like I didn't love his, like, the Enma thing, but, like, fact of the matter is, the stuff with Enma was built up. More so than Breath, more so than Flying... Well, maybe not more so than Flying Slash, but, like, basically more so than, like Zoro's, like, him getting the power-ups that he did this arc, and the way that, like, kind of rolled into, like, his character arc for the arc, like, literally... It's, like, the most, like, narratively cohesive character arc Zoro's ever had in a contained section of the story. It just is. Like, whether it was executed properly or not, like, I personally didn't love a lot of it. I like Sanji's thing more, because Sanji's thing was a carryover from Whole Cake Island, and continuing his arc from Whole Cake Island about, like, not wanting to carry his family's legacy, but kind of having to anyway, even though he didn't want to, but still retaining his own code, his own principles, and, like, rejecting the power, but still using his gifts and using, like, the elements that made his family, you know, that he resented about his family, to protect the innocent and, like, to uphold his values, which is why, like, Sanji's the best, you know. Sanji's just been the best character since, you know, he's like, you know, top two Straw Hats easily. Top two characters in the story easily, in my opinion. But anyway, effects and implications. Okay. Sour says, I don't think it's the combat power the government had the problem with. It's the effects, the implications. What effects, what implications? We just... What, can he mold the world government into a fucking... into a fucking, like, different form? I guess he can turn the red line into a fucking rubbery jello and tear it down that way. Literally, you know, fucking... What's his name? Like, I don't get that. Like, literally, like, what, you know, I don't know what you mean exactly. Like, maybe you have a better example, but, like, there are a bunch of characters. Like, Kaido could blow up the red line with a fucking blast breath. Like, fucking Whitebeard could hit it with a shockwave. He could have fucking knocked down part of the red line if he wanted to, probably. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so, I don't think it's... Okay, so Sour says Nika equals laugh. Sound effect, I think. Okay, so it's the laugh fruit. He's got the laugh tail fruit. Of course he does. You know what's funny is Nico Robin, I think, literally means laugh Robin. Which is funny because her backstory is all about, you know, her learning to laugh to hide her pain or to, like, convince her, you know, to help with her pain. Like, laughter is the cure for pain. And that also kind of ties into Chopper's relationship with Dr. Huruluk and how Dr. Huruluk was essentially like a... similar to that doctor in that movie, the doctor who used like kind of like good vibes and positivity and like laughter and would make people laugh. Patch Adams, Patch Adams, the real life Patch Adams was like, oh yeah, when people's moods are good, when people's, you know, mental health is good, when they're like happy about things, they are more healthy. Like, so, you know, there is an element of that with Dr. Huruluk, and that's why like Chopper not only wants to heal people's illness, but he also like, and who wants to heal any illness, but by doing so, he has to heal the heart, which is what Dr. Huruluk was all about. So there's some good stuff there. I like that little motif that Oda's kind of spun into the story with his puns, like Nico Robin being the name of a character who has a laugh that, you know, kind of keeps coming up as like a thing that's important for that character. Despite her tragic past, she has learned to, you know, she would laugh in spite of the tragedy, which would help her get through it. So that's good stuff. Yo-Yo Man says Nika is the sun freedom god that Oda created. Yeah. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, Nika does not exist in other mythology. But hey, Oda's creating his own story. He can have his own mythology. That's whatever. I'm okay with it. I like when Oda references things in other mythologies, but if he wants to create like a jelly bean man, whatever, that's fine. Kaido is going to double awaken. Yeah. I mean, has Kaido even shown his awakening yet? Is he going to turn the world into dragons? Is he going to turn the whole island into a fucking dragon? I guess that could happen. Sour says, I think there will be more with Kaido's character. I hope so, dude. I'm still... Especially now that it seems we're going into like the final stage of the fight, I'm really hoping we get like a short Rocks flashback. Just give me like a fucking, like half a chapter, a few pages, just anything. Give me a little bit of Rocks flashback, please, Oda, please. I'm dying for that. That's like the shit I want to see the most right now, is a fucking Rocks flashback. I think there will be more. Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying, Sour. I get what you're saying. But the thing is, we didn't need this JOYBOY shit to get a Rocks flashback. We just did not. It was not necessary. That doesn't necessarily mean the JOYBOY stuff is bad or shouldn't be here, but like, we just didn't need it for the Rocks flashback. We just didn't, you know? If not, then I will eat scrotum. Okay. Chow down, my brother. Chow down. The effects being that he brings laughter and desire for freedom. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, that is a... You know, it's hard to say what Oda meant with this. I think it's probably more in line with what you're saying, Sour. I do agree. But, you know, I need to see another translation. You know what I mean? I don't blame people for taking this information that Oda's given in this chapter and running with it and spitting up the worst case scenarios, because Oda is inviting this weird shit into, you know, this fucking weird shit into One Piece that hasn't really been an element before. Not to this degree anyway. So, the effects being, okay, yeah, which is the problematic for retaining power. Yeah. Molotov Bartender says, I hope not. I want Luffy's adventure to be unrelated to the revolutionaries. I mean, dude, the revolutionaries and Luffy's guys, they're gonna run into each other at some point. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, there's no way they're not gonna eventually team up to do something. Like, that's 100%, like, like, I mean, I'm not the writer of One Piece, but, like, why else would they be here? Like, they're gonna, yes, they're another force in the world, and I like to see them doing their own thing, but, like, there's no way that the government and Luffy's people aren't going, and, like, Luffy and his gang aren't gonna clash at some point. It's gonna happen. And I'm sure the revolutionaries will be involved in whatever that conflict brings. Yeah, so, yeah, Sour says, then why would they exist in the story at all? Yes. World building. Sorry, dude. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but that's, if you think that's all they're here for, like, yes, that is part of what they're here for. They are here for world building, but, like, if there's a major force in the world, Luffy is going to come into contact with them, whether it's the revolutionaries or anyone else. That's just a given as far as I'm concerned. At this point, I would be crazy to think they wouldn't matter in the end. Yeah, they're definitely gonna fucking matter. Luffy's dad is in charge of them. Obviously, Luffy, like, I know Luffy doesn't give a fuck about his dad, which is awesome and based and makes him better than fucking Usopp, better than Gon, better than fucking, who else cares about their dads? Anyone who cares about their dad sucks. Fuck Gon. Fuck Hunter x Hunter. No, I actually like Hunter x Hunter. I'm being a dumbass. Kaido's awakening will be him becoming Koido. That would be based. I want to see Fish Kaido flop around on the fucking ground like a fucking flopping Magikarp. That'd be funny. You know, like shoot like a hyper beam at Luffy, which I guess he's already been doing this whole time. At this point, Kaido's awakening will be, Koido. He will fully embrace Fish. Yeah. I want Kaido to slap Luffy with his fish tail. That would be funny. If the 8 pages of Hiyori were Zebek instead, this chapter would be so much better. The 8 pages of Hiyori is what saved this chapter for me. So, I mean, hey, like, we needed to get a resolution to that Hiyori thing, and I actually liked all of that stuff. For me, that was, like, basically the best part. It made this chapter bearable. The Hiyori stuff was the best part, actually. Amazing. Yeah, I agree. Ace, or Ass, cares about his dad. Yeah, but what's cool about Ace is he fucking hates his dad. That's awesome. That's based, you know? That's what makes Ace a cool guy, is that he doesn't give a fuck about his dad. He gives a fuck in the sense that he's like, I'm gonna, like, eat it. He's like, fuck you, dad. He's a rebellious teen, you know? I love it. But he cares about his real dad, Whitebeard. So, cool guy. Ace is based. We stand Ace in this chat. I just felt like it dragged, is what, I mean, hey, dude, that's fair. I mean, honestly, I was happy. Like, I like these characters in this storyline. Conjuro has been a little underwhelming this arc, but like I said, like, honestly, like, I'm glad. Like, this face is great. Like, her, like, I've been saying the whole time that, like, the reason she wears the mask, and, like, my opinion anyway, my theory, quote unquote, was the reason she wears the mask is because whenever she plays she wears it whenever she plays the shamisen, and I've just been saying this whole time. It's because she's crying underneath that mask. Because she played the shamisen for her dad, and she cannot not think about that and think about, like, the emotions don't come flooding back, and that's why she has to wear the mask. And I get vindicated. I get proven right by seeing her face in this moment. Because she can't hold back her rage or her tears, her sadness or her anger when she plays the shamisen. And, like, I love that fucking Conjuro finally got to do something by taking out Orochi, the guy who basically put him in a precarious situation and made him, you know, like, betray his friends. You know, Conjuro was so malleable because he was so, like, hated everyone so much. But he's like, hey, go befriend all these guys, and then I'm going to tell you when you have to betray them. But until then, just, like, you know, fucking betray their trust all the time by feeding me info. Like, this is great. This is Conjuro redeeming himself, basically saying, like, you know what, fuck you, you're trying to use me for your own personal gain until the very end, despite the fact that we're family. I like that a lot. I like that these characters got their revenge in a cool way, and I think they're, you know, I like the Wano characters. What can I say? I just think they're good. If you don't, that's okay. You know, I don't blame you. Some people don't, and that's fine. Sour says, I like everything else in the chapter I'm met about, has pros and cons, but I am generally not upset about. Hiyori stuff was goated. Hiyori stuff was the best part. And like the Looney Tunes stuff at the end. The Looney Tunes stuff at the end with, like, the eyes popping out of the head. Luffy becoming a fucking Popeye macho man is pretty funny. The funny face that he made here, and, like, I like some of, like, the framing. Like, I like some of the, for lack of a better word, like, the way Oda draws, like, the powers being used, and, like, the initial page of this chapter where we saw just the way this whole thing is framed with the drums and like the sunken in eyes and seeing like the framing of the first page is good. And like, yeah, that's something that's been good this chapter is like, I think like the framing and kind of like the, how do I put it? Like the presentation of it all has been decent. Has been pretty fun. Molotov says nobody cared who she was before she put on the mask. Yeah, dude. Yeah. We're getting a Joker arc for her for sure. Sour says, I'm mostly defensive about the developments because people are really upset and I don't think it's really that bad, though not necessarily good. I'll be honest, dude, I think it's bad. I haven't been engaging with the conversation at all. Like, here's the thing. I like the way the powers look. I just wish there wasn't so much goddamn, like, narrative importance put on Luffy's fruit. And it just seems like he's become, like, the most important guy just because of something that happened to him incidentally instead of the stuff that he's done the whole time. Which is a bummer because he has earned his place as a Yonko at this point. He's challenging other Yonko. He's, like, literally was going toe-to-toe with Kaido for a while now. He has, like... And he's done so many cool and amazing things throughout the series to make himself like a legitimate like threat and concern for the world government on his own merits. So the fact that now the reason they're scared of him is because of his goddamn fruit, that does bother me and that does undercut his accomplishments and I don't like it. I don't like it. Hopefully you can understand that. I'm excited to talk about it more with everyone now that I can actually engage in the conversation because like I said, I've been avoiding everything online about this because I didn't want to get spoiled. But like that's how I feel right now. It's just like, yeah, like the fact that the government wanted him dead specifically because of his goddamn fruit, like that, I do think that sucks. I don't know what to say. I just do think that sucks. It's not because he's been like such a huge threat who set them back in so many ways by storming Eni's lobby or, embarrassing Big Mom or taking down like Doflamingo and like fucking up the black market and making them having to work directly with Kaido and Orochi instead of working through Doflamingo, which was their proxy before. Like, I think that is bad. I don't know what to say. It does undercut his accomplishments, and the more I think about it, the more upset I get, because it does. Like, I don't know what, I've been trying to, like, find the bright sides, and the bright side are that the powers look cool, and he is funny. That's the bright side, is that, like, he's not possessed, the powers look cool, and he's funny. Good stuff. I like when Luffy's funny. I like when the powers look cool and funny. And I like that it, and I like the artistic stuff going on here in terms of just like the funny, Looney Tunes shit. But like everything about the weight of how important his fruit is now does undercut like his accomplishments and just like his character traits in general. Hopefully not to the degree that I fear, but like, it just does. Like, even more than his personality traits, I hate that it undercut his accomplishments. I hate that. I just straight up hate it. That's annoying. Molotov says, I thought Kanjuro did it on accident. Am I missing a detail? I mean, it doesn't look like it. It looks like Kanjuro did it on purpose to me. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. He says, Orochi, that's the wrong way. Oh, no. Well, yeah, maybe he did do it on accident. That's almost more funny. I don't think so. I mean, the way I think it's left up to interpretation, Molotov, in the sense that I think if you want to think of it like he just didn't have the strength to aim himself at Hiyori, maybe. But I like the read that it's actually he's just so fed up with the fact that even at the end, Orochi is willing to sacrifice him and like he doesn't give a fuck about him. And like he in the end is like, you know what, fuck it, man. Like, you've used me this whole time. For once, I'm gonna like actually like get my revenge on you. I that's how I read that. Like it, and to me that was narratively satisfying, especially for a character like Kanjuro who's kind of gotten the short end of the stick in the raid. Despite how much potential he had as like an interesting antagonist, he keeps kind of getting like undercut by, he keeps getting like off screen and undercut by like Big Mom and stuff like that. So I'm happy to see him like take out like a big player like Orochi. Even if it is an accident, I read this as not an accident. I read this as him like just being like, you know what, even at the end, you're still trying to use me and like fuck you. And that's how I read that. But maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I think it's left up to. I think it's vague for a reason. I think it's supposed to be left up to interpretation. Sour says, to be fair, all the Yonko have special backgrounds. Yeah. Yep. That's true. I think now you have adequately explained why it undercuts and is bad. It relates to why the government cares. Yes, exactly. That's my biggest problem, is why, like, I'm okay with the government caring about the power, but it's just like, it's the way they are expressing their concern. Because they didn't tell CP0 to go kill, like, literally the Gorosei telling the top guy at CP0, go kill Straw Hat Luffy. Like, that is your main priority now. Fuck Nico Robin. This is the most important thing. Isn't because Luffy is the biggest threat there because of his own merits. It's because of his goddamn fruit. And yes, I do think I don't like that. The fact that his accomplishments, the things that have led him to be on 150 billion berry bounty man, all of his massive, like, accomplishments and the things that we've seen him do throughout the story, pale in comparison to, at least in the eyes of the government, to this fucking fruit. And maybe that will be explained. The government, like, literally wanted to kill Nico Robin, not because of anything she did, but because of the potential of what she could do. So we know that the government does care a little bit more about, and same with Ace. Like, they wanted to kill Ace because he was the child spawn of Roger, not necessarily on his own merits. That's why they made such a big stink about it. They wanted to say the Pirate King's spawn cannot be allowed to live. Despite, like, they would have killed him even if he hadn't done anything. If they just found out that there was, like, a guy who just happened to be related to Gold Roger living somewhere, they killed a bunch of children. They killed a bunch of babies who were the same age as Ace would have been, and his mom had to hold him in her womb for fucking, like 20 months because, like, they were just killing all newborns who might have been Roger's spawn. So, like, literally, like, the government cares a lot about, like, legacy and, like, specifically, like, family ties. If you're related to someone important or someone who they deem as evil or against them, they will kill you. So, like, this might just be an example of the government having misplaced priorities when it comes to, like, and just like, oh, Luffy has the same power as JOYBOY, we gotta kill him, we gotta axe that dude. And if they explain it like that, that's okay, but it still feels weird. It still feels weird. It still feels like it's undercutting how important Luffy has become on his own merits, and I don't particularly like that. I think now okay, because they should care regardless. Yes, I agree, they should care regardless. When Toei animates this, I am scared we're going to get a Naruto Pain scenario. Honestly, in a fight like this, I would actually be okay with, like, a funny, like, Luffy face doing the fucking pain, like, pull back and, like, like, I would actually be kind of okay with that. That could be funny. Isn't the animator responsible for that on the One Piece team, Monkus? Maybe. I don't watch the One Piece anime. I didn't watch the Shippuden anime either. I watched, like, a little bit of it, not much. So, like, I don't know who's responsible for that funny shit. I would love, honestly, I'm down for some more meme piece. Give me some funny stills of Luffy punching a guy with a funny face. I'm down for that. Sour says, like, I'm on board with the fruit being special thematically. Yeah, me too, dude. But it isn't good that the government is stupid. Yeah, but at the same time, like you said, like I just explained, the government has put, like, weird, like, emphasis on, like, killing people who are, like, just because of their potential as opposed to, like, what they've done before. So that's, the more I think about it, it's not out of character for the government to care more about the potential of Luffy to do something weird because of a fruit he has. But the thing is, they've known he's had the Gomu Gomu fruit for this, like, how long? Like, why would this all of a sudden become a problem for them? You know what I'm saying? That's the weird part for me. It's like in the past, it had been framed like, oh, Luffy gets a higher and higher bounty because he keeps doing more and more. But, like, they should have known all along that he had the Gomu Gomu. So, like, I don't get why all of a sudden now they're like, oh shit, like, now we have to kill him, you know? Why didn't you kill him, like, all the millions of times before? Like, you know, obviously they've tried, but, like, it does feel weird. It feels like a weird shift. It feels like a retcon. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, feels like a retcon. Sour Lemon says, like, Luffy has been fucking with the government for so long at this point and undercutting their power, they should care. Yep. So again, pros and cons that make me feel meh. Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, that's how I feel about this chapter. Like, for me, like, I don't like giving things number ratings, because, like, my feelings are going to change over time as more chapters come out as well. Like, you know, I'm still, like, I've liked a lot of aspects of this arc. Like, this arc isn't ruined for me. The story of One Piece isn't ruined for me. Everything that's come up to this point has still been, like, really great, especially, like, in previous arcs. We'll see how this arc shakes out. I'm still hopeful for some good stuff. I'm hoping that Oda squares the circle on the JOYBOY stuff and that it's not as bad as I currently think it is. But right now, my feelings on it are pretty negative. I'm hoping that Oda will do more with it and make it so that Luffy just isn't like a. I hope that it's like you said, that it's not that the fruit is the most powerful fruit, but that it's maybe the most. It has a ton of potential because of how much variety, how many different things it can do. But even then, that's still like the most powerful fruit. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Also, it's framed that they didn't know he had the gum gum. Right, but they just did. They knew he had the gum gum. So I don't know what the fuck that's about. But Molotov Bartender, my biggest question in all of this isn't related to any lore. It's where is the actual Gomu Gomu? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I assume it's in Luffy's anus somewhere. Sour Lemon says the Nika is a cover-up and there would have been no reason to report to the Gorosei. I guess so, but the Gorosei have been keeping an eye on Luffy since he beat Crocodile. Come on. What do you mean they didn't know this whole time? I don't know. Maybe, I would have to think about that way more. Maybe they didn't realize that the Gomu Gomu was the Nika, but they were transporting the Gomu Gomu. So, what? They had CP9 transporting the Gomu Gomu. That doesn't make any sense. So, I don't buy that. Sour says, some random Neanderthal in the West Blue has the actual Gum Gum. I mean, guys, we just know now that the Gum Gum was... I think it was said, a couple chapters ago, there was a fruit that was given a different name, and that was the Gomu Gomu. So there is no actual Gomu Gomu. There just isn't, the Gomu Gomu is the Nika. That just is what it is. There is no... Oh, so you guys are thinking that there actually is a rubber fruit out there somewhere that is separate from this version of the Gomu Gomu. Oh, that's interesting. That is a good question. Who has the Gomu Gomu? That's two-piece. That's two-piece right there for you. we followed the actual hero of the story who really has the Gomu Gomu, which will also turn out to be a different fruit at some point along the way. All right, so Sour says, look, I'm trying to justify a plot hole. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. I've tried to justify many a plot hole. I'm just not doing it this time. I gotta be critical. I gotta put my foot down when I see some dumb shit. And it's not that Oda can't salvage this. I think he can. But right now, I'm bro, what the fuck? Come on, man. Okay. Molotov Bartender says, if there's the laundry fruit, surely there's a gum gum. Yeah, there's got to be a gum gum fruit, a real gum gum fruit out there somewhere. Sour Lemon says, just deal with it. Yeah, dude, I'll just deal with it. Two-piece follows the real gum gum, but it's actually the resin fruit. Yeah, it's probably the fucking, I don't even know. What's something else that stretches? I don't know. Anyway, guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's also been existential dread. But no, honestly, this has been a good time. Thank you all for hanging out and commenting. It's been super fun. My cock stretches, it's the it's the Camu, of course. Honestly, when I saw Luffy's hair turn into that weird gross shit, I was thinking he ate the Camu no. He's about to turn into a cream cum man, which would have been funny if he just started spraying everywhere. Maybe I've eaten the gum. Yeah, maybe. Maybe you have the mushroom no mi. You get just mushrooms all over your body like Luffy did in Amazon Lily. And you have one really stretchy mushroom. That'd be funny. Anyway, guys, this has been a good time, but I need to get going. I got stuff to do. So thank you so much for joining me. This was this is such a fun chapter to talk about. This is probably because I haven't been doing these Chips Ahoy streams very long. So this is one of the first ones where I think we actually got a good debate going. We got a good back and forth. I definitely, like I said, in the future would like to have some people on as guests. Obviously, I'm pretty new to doing these weekly One Piece streams, so I'm just trying to get in a good rhythm before we kind of maybe do a stream with a guest at some point. Maybe on an off week, maybe a break week would be a good time to have a guest on the show and just talk about how the arc's going, previous arcs, favorite arcs in the series, talk about just a whole bunch of stuff. I think that could be really fun. So yeah. If you want to apply to be a guest, get in my Discord. It's down below, and we'll talk One Piece at some point. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks again for hanging out. I will see you next week because it doesn't look like we have a break coming up. I don't believe we do. Yeah, no break next week. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, with that said, I'm going to bid you adieu. Sour says, I want to meet the characters that's eating the milk fruit where they lactate everywhere. That would be based. That would be based. Anyway, guys, thanks again for coming out. It's been a fucking hell of a time. We've been having a lot of fun with this Nika bullshit. But for now, I'm gonna call it a night. So see you next week, and talk to you later.